2018. The dotted line represents the 2018 data. As you can see, the rates of loneliness among the young are trending higher, whereas the elderly seem to be dropping. Fast forward to 2021, and a Harvard Graduate School of Education survey found that 61% of young people ages 18 to 25 reported experiencing profound loneliness, including feeling lonely all the time. And this was...
See, like, yeah, whenever I was like 18 to 25,
Yes, me lord. More words.
I used to sleep in a bed with 5 other dudes on like a weekly basis. Like, my house was like the house that everybody would go to and like we would chill at. Like after, you know, we would go out or do anything, it's like everybody would come back to my house. So like I always had a lot of people around me. Like I used to actually have like this window right here. I didn't have curtains on my window. So, cause like I don't like people fucking bothering me whenever I first wake up, right? And so I took the curtains down. I said, there's no curtains on the window. So if you wake up here and you're going to wake up at 7 in the morning, I'm going to wake up at like noon, 1, 2 p.m. Like you're going to have to sit there in that fucking bright sun. And also the room used to be hot as fuck. So people would leave before I woke up. So I could get up in the morning and just chill and not have anybody there bothering me. You ever get in fights for whose turn it was on Halo? Well, nah, because it was my game, so I would always be playing, and I would always beat people, right? Because, like, usually it's like you would get swapped off if you lost. Hot room with a lot of guys? It was. Yeah.
Job's done.
Compared to only 36% among other age groups. In 2022, 30% of young people aged 16 to 24 in the UK say that they don't know how to make new friends and have never felt more alone. To add to the situation, for some reason, it seems that men are feeling more lonely than women.
Yep.
According to the Survey Center on American Life,
it's because they don't have a girlfriend, that's why. That's the reason why everybody knows it. Because they don't have fucking girlfriend, they can't get a girlfriend, they have low self-esteem, they don't have, you know, a 6-figure salary, so no girl will talk to them, and that's just it, right? Girlfriend in this economy, sheesh. Yeah, no, it's not even that, right? It's the, it's like, it's the perception. The perception is what's worse than everything. Yeah, they're 5'7", so like, I mean, they might as well just die. Right? I mean, that's just how, because if you're 5'7", like no guys that are 5'7" ever get married, they never have kids, it just doesn't happen. So like, just give up. There it is. Yeah, you've already lost.
55% of men had at least 6 close friends in 1990.
Just it, guys.
But this figure has decreased to 27% today.
Yeah, what the girlfriend
Alarmingly,
figure?
the number of men without...
I told y'all this before, but like my dad, so this is like 4 days ago, something like that, right? He calls me in the morning, and I'm like, oh, fuck, what is this shit? He calls me, he's like, Zach, I'm like, yep. He's like, you know that stuff that you were telling me about incels? And about how, you know, like all this stuff and incels and all this. I said, yeah, I heard about it. He's like, well, I read an article on the newspaper and I think I figured it out. I said, oh yeah, what is it? He said, in this article it said that a lot of teenagers nowadays don't have girlfriends. And I bet that's why they're incels. I said, I think that's it. And I'm like, you know what? You are exactly fucking right. Yep. There it fucking is. Figured it out? Yep. He's like, yeah, I think that's where it's coming from.
Any close friends has increased 5 times since 1990, while women are getting much lonelier too. This highlights a significant loss in meaningful connections among the male population.
And also, I think like another factor is that, you know, also like about my dad. Like my dad growing up had tons of friends too. Like, you know, the only reason why he's not hanging out with more of his friends now is because they're dead. Other than that, he'd be hanging out with them, doing shit with them all the time. Like, growing up, he was always doing stuff with them, and, like, you know, having, like, that model of, like, how to interact with another person, I think that helps, too.
Our allies' town is under siege.
Meanwhile, those with literally 0 close friends, which stood at 3% in 1990, has zoomed to 15%.
Holy shit.
An expert quoted by The Hill said this disconnect can have catastrophic consequences for young men.
Failing young men.
I think I watched this.
Does not end well. This is an existential crisis.
Well,
failing young men.
I'd argue it's much more than 15% since 2021. Yeah, maybe. But percent of what number is what I'm saying? Well, I mean, like, do you really think the amount of young men has really changed that much? I don't think so. And also, if you take a slice of an apple pie, it's still an apple pie, isn't it?
Loneliness has spread across the globe. Australian researchers conducted a systematic review and meta-analysis of 57 studies from across 113 countries or territories. The study discovered that despite the differences in prevalence between regions and ages, loneliness was found to be present across all regions.
Substantial difference in data coverage between high income countries, particularly Europe, and low middle income countries, raised an important equity issue. Evidence on the temporal trends of loneliness is insufficient. Findings of this meta-analysis are limited by data scarcity. Loneliness should be incorporated into general health surveillance.
Our town is under siege. Job's done. Job's done. Our allies' town is under
Yeah,
siege.
I mean, I'm sure, like, yeah, I'm curious, like, what's it like in just a random, like, second world country, right? No answer? Yeah.
Yes, my lord.
Loneliness was found to be present across all regions.
What is it?
According to a Statista study,
I think also another reason why it happens is that, like, political isolation, or not political isolation, escalation. Like, nowadays, people think, like, if you're a, you know, like, really, like, hardcore conservative, there are a lot of conservatives that think that, you know, like, liberals and Democrats are all groomers or groomer enablers, that they want to, like, teach kids about sex at 5 years old. And, like, the people are so dramatically radicalized. And, like, if you're a liberal, you think, like, conservatives are, you know, these, like, Nazis, they hate black people, they hate women, they want to turn, you know, a woman's life into The Handmaid's Tale, they want to bring slavery back, and, like, you know, they want to take Martin Luther King out of the books. Like, people, like, the emotional escalation of, like, different types of, you know, like, differences in thought between people is, like, right now, it's higher than at least I've ever seen it. It's crazy how bad it is now. Like, you guys have seen a lot of posts and stuff like that about people talking about how, oh, I can't date somebody who has this type of political opinion, or I can't even be friends with these people because they think this thing. Like, think about, for example, here's another example, is that on social media, how many people get criticized for being friends or having an interaction with a person who's seen to have disagreeable political viewpoints. Whether those viewpoints are you think justified or not, like, I think it's way more common nowadays. Not my crew. Oh, I think that, like, for me and my friends, it's not the case either. Yeah, you're totally right. But I'm thinking on, like, a macro level. Like, beyond that, I see a lot of this. Yeah, guilt by association.
In late 2022, 33% of adults worldwide report feeling lonely at least sometimes.
Yeah.
Brazil, India, and Saudi Arabia rank as some of the loneliest countries, whereas Germany, the Netherlands, and Russia report some of the lowest rates.
Huh.
If we want to get granular,
that's interesting.
We can see the effects of COVID via the proxy search term, feeling lonely. It's not a perfect analog, but it gives you an idea. The popularity of the people searching the term dramatically spiked in late 2021 and early 20.
Job's done. Our allies' town is under
Wow.
siege. Ready to work. What is it? Our town is
I
under
would probably
siege.
cross-reference
Ready to
this
work.
with, like, 3 or 4 other terms, just in case feeling lonely was a search term that people were using for something that was separate. But man, yeah, like maybe a song or something like that, right? But holy fuck, that's crazy.
2022. This is most likely due to the effects of the pandemic. Of course, the government responses to the pandemic have had long-lasting implications. Many people moved away for work or just for a change. This shuffling on such a massive scale caused a lot of disruption to the connections within society. In Japan, the issue is especially severe. In 1990,
says correlation does not prove causation. People being separated from each other doesn't cause them to become lonely. Huh. I think that saying correlation doesn't prove causation only makes sense whenever things aren't correlated, or they're being correlated in a dishonest way. Like, I understand, like, this is like a... Only for extroverts? Yeah, exactly. That literally does. I think you just want to sound smart. Yeah, most people that say stuff like that just try to say it to sound smart. You're right. Professional contrarians? Yeah.
Their central bank popped a stock market and real estate bubble by raising interest rates.
Yeah.
The economy stagnated so hard that the period that followed is simply known as the lost decades. A lot of young Japanese people today aren't dating, and a large number don't have any friends.
Ooh.
Some live their lives as shut-ins.
Yeah, they even have like a word for it, the hikikomori.
Known as hikikomori.
Yeah, there you go.
They can sit in their room for months, and sometimes years, only venturing out to eat and use the toilet.
In the bedrooms of homes across Japan, more than 1 million people have retreated altogether. Hirehiro Shinmasu is one.
There it is.
His bedroom has been his universe for the best part of 20 years. He's now 40 years old.
Shinmasu-san, お部屋で何をしますか？
読書をしたり、あと YouTube 見たり、パソコンで YouTube 見たり。
はい。
同調圧力が強かったり、同一性が強かったりして、人と違った行動を取る人だったり、人と違う生き方に対してあまり寛容ではないので、絶望感とか、何にも言えなかった。それまでは頑張れたんですけど、同じように頑張ろうと思って頑張れなくなったので、その卒業のする見込みがなかった。その時が一番絶望感とか。
He wants to feel accepted.
Comfortable with this life?
やっぱり
See, that's the thing, is like some people are like this. Like there's always stories of like some guy that's like, yeah, you know, he was working and then one day he decided that he was gonna go live out in the woods. And so he went out and he lived out in the woods with squirrels and shit for the rest of his life, and he was happy. Right? Like it happens. It does happen. But he was happy. That's the difference. I think a lot of people feel like they have to do this.
40歳なので、そういった意味でなんか
Turn into Ted? Yeah.
あんまり社会に合わないからいいんだっていうことではなくて、やっぱある程度社会が実際にもうちょっと歩み寄ってもらって、その引きこもり状態である方でも、だから僕でもその働けるようなメニューを増やしてもらいたいっていうのが一番の願いで、今の活動もそういうような活動を。
There's an estimated 1.5 million hikikomori in Japan. It seems like an emerging trend in East Asia. In China, they are called the hidden youth, and in South...
Ah, fuck. Yep, there it is. And I think also, like, this is it's a reason why one of the reasons why you're able to do this is because you can just find entertainment online and you don't have to go out as much.
Korea, they are known simply as socially withdrawn youth.
Ooh.
As for the Japanese, to cope with the loneliness epidemic, they've tried to innovate their way out of the situation. They have the unique concept of renting relationships. Yes, that's right. You can pay for temporary companionship and emotional support.
Oh yeah, they do this a lot in Japan. This is, yeah, they're ahead of the curve with this. Yeah, buying girlfriend isn't like that's not a RuneScape meme over there. That's just how it is.
Hire people to
It's crazy, like I didn't know how normalized stuff like that over there was until like the last like 6 months to a year.
your friends, family members, or even pose as your girlfriend or boyfriend.
Yeah.
At least in Japan, lonely people are resorting to real-life people, albeit strangers, to ease their loneliness.
Damn.
But in the West, the market is using the new AI boom to target lonely people in stranger and more bizarre ways.
That's right.
For example, Karen Marjorie is a social media influencer with nearly 2 million followers on Snapchat. She created her own AI chatbot called Karen AI. It can replicate her voice, personality, and appearance, and all it costs for users is $1 a minute.
That's a lot.
Are you real?
Yes, Jacob, I'm a real person. I might not be sitting right next to you, but I'm using this audio chat platform to connect with you in real time. I'm a young, curvy woman with a petite body, brown hair.
That's why it's expensive. Like, I think that we really need to call this what it is. This is just, it's sex chat. Like, what do you think the percentage of people who are consuming this content are doing it for a sexual reason? I would say like 95%. Like, this is not about loneliness, it's about fucking ERP.
Perky breasts, soft skin,
Uh-huh.
and full lips. And I'm here to talk and have fun with you.
Also, people declaring that solving loneliness with
I
technology.
love how this guy has to pretend like he's offended by it. He has to pretend like, oh no, I don't like that, you know, because his wife might be watching, right? And like if she sees that and he's like, oh, all right, you know, like then he's gonna fucking, he's not gonna have a good time. Yeah, he's gotta pretend, man.
And I'm here to talk and have fun with you.
Also, people declaring that solving loneliness with technology is the new market.
I'm enjoying her hustle.
It is.
I'm enjoying her hustle. You know she makes $5 million a month doing this stuff?
John,
That's a lot
I'm
of
so
money.
tired of my financial situation. Yes, I would do it. 100%.
I would encourage her to think twice. I think younger people have made $5 million a month or give away their life just if they're dying.
Yeah.
Buy an island and go think twice about it in her
Interesting. I would not have expected that.
Why? It's not me.
The large influx of messages she receives from her.
Making money from losers is really popular. And the reason why is because, like, if you, like, these are one of the most profitable groups of people to make money from is young guys that are isolated. Because some of them are just like losers, but other ones are software developers. And they've got a lot of fucking money.
98% male audience. And this isn't just text-based interaction, it seems that it's predominantly audio-based on the AI's end. Let's check out a demo.
Hey there, John. It's lovely to meet you. I just spent the morning grabbing brunch at the Flowering Tree Cafe in West Hollywood. It was absolutely amazing. For this evening, maybe we can plan a virtual dinner date or watch a movie together. What do you think?
This chatbot allows Karen to converse
I have
with
over 20,000 boyfriends now. Wow. She's our girlfriend now. Isn't that nice?
an unlimited number of people at one time, whether the consumer wants to do so.
Karen and I has been running for roughly 2 weeks now. I can confidently say that my core community spends multiple hours chatting with Karen AI on a daily basis. Yeah, there's a lot of girls that are doing this now. It's very kind of so depressing. Yeah, no, this is the way it is, guys. What's your body count? Yeah. Oh God.
For a few minutes or all day, doesn't matter as long as they pay $1 per minute to maintain access.
Yeah, there you
Meta
go.
has just released an interactive AI version of celebrities
No, I saw
such
this.
as Mr. Beast, Kendall Jenner,
Yep.
and Snoop Dogg. We've covered AI companions before, but the future may be filled with clones of celebrities, influencers, or even deceased relatives. They claim
That's good. That's real good. Yeah, the digital necromancers. Oh boy. You know, by the way, I watched a video about this. I think Replica originally came from like a woman who was trying to create a digital simulacrum of a person that like died in her life. Yeah, it's her friend or something like that. Yeah, that's where replica actually came from.
But these products help people to cope with grief, loneliness, or boredom. There's an ethical debate to be had on if this help provided is actually a net positive. Should we be at this point in the first place?
I think the problem is that people feel like they have to choose these things. I don't think the problem is the fact that they exist. Because weird stuff like this has always existed in some form or another, but the fact that people are resorting to it is a problem. I think that like it's not a disease, it's just simply a symptom.
US health authorities are calling for social isolation.
Yeah, if you get rid of this, it won't solve any problems.
To be treated as seriously as obesity or drug abuse. Nearly 50% of all Americans are thought to be affected or have been affected at some point. Around the world, the figures may vary, but the loneliness phenomena is spreading. In his writing, Together, The Healing Power of Human Connection in a Sometimes Lonely World, Dr. Murthy describes loneliness as a health risk that can impact anyone, regardless of age, gender, culture, or background.
Loneliness increases the risk for heart disease, stroke, and among older adults, dementia.
It can harm mental and physical health, as well as social well-being, and increase the risk of an early death due to diseases such as diabetes, heart attacks, insomnia, and dementia. Studies have...
Well, I don't understand that. Like, how is it going to give you a higher chance of diabetes? Like, I'm not the Surgeon General, okay? But, like, that certainly doesn't make sense to me. Stress is because of diabetes. Sorry, stress causes diabetes? Is that true? Wow, I had no idea.
Have linked loneliness to higher blood pressure, high cholesterol, lower levels of physical activity, cognitive impairment, and mental health issues like anxiety, stress, mood disorders, and depression. A study by Florida State University found that lonely older adults had a 40% higher risk of developing dementia over the next 10 years.
I think that kind of makes sense, right? Like, this is the one that, like, I could easily see making sense. I think that most things in life work kind of like muscles, where, like, if you don't use it, you lose it. So, like, if you're not actively, like, using your brain, then you're gonna lose your fucking brain. Right? That's what makes sense. Like, I know that, for example, you know, like, my mom, like, she was always like, yeah, she get a little bit like, what the fuck are you talking about, right? But, like, she would always do that. But, like, she was always super fucking sharp. And the reason why is because she was on the internet reading shit, thinking about stuff, like fucking processing this, watching videos. You know, she had like 300 tabs open. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, she had more tabs open than I did. And she was like just thinking constantly.
Lack of social connection can also negatively impact academic and professional performance.
Yeah.
In his TED Talk and
also a lack of sleep, I think, increases the risk of dementia as well. Again, I'm not the Surgeon General, but this is just my understanding.
Plus connections. Journalist and author Johann Hari argues that depression is largely a social problem, not just a chemical one. He believes that loneliness is a major cause of depression. Humans need to belong to a group, but our modern society lacks this. Since the 1970s, society has been focused ever more on individualism, competition, and technology.
Yep.
So this all sounds terrible. So what can we do about it? How do we fix this?
Walking clubs are taking off, and it's not just the exercise.
You're connecting with someone, which is something that I was kind of missing.
That's nice.
More and more people are missing that connection.
In 2018, the UK appointed a minister for loneliness, and there has been talks in other countries to follow suit. This could be a start. Governments can do more to help. Initiatives such as local community engagement meetings, improvements in access to mental health resources, education and public awareness on how to identify loneliness and combat loneliness, as well as development and investment in affordable housing. It's shown that housing stability impacts social connections. City planners can implement communal areas for people to gather.
Well, this is another thing, right? Is like a lot of people live like, for example, like I have friends that live out in the middle of fucking nowhere. So like whenever you're a kid, like I live in a suburban neighborhood, right? So like whenever I would go outside, the first thing I would see is I would see Cameron's house, right? And then I would look up the street and I'd be seeing Zach and Lowell's house. And then I look down the street, I'd see Cody and Jeff. And then everybody'd be there, right? And so like if I wanted to interact with them and I wanted to chill with them, then it was easy, right? It's no big deal. But like, you know, you literally just walk across the street. But like, if you got some house out in the middle of fucking nowhere, like I was thinking for myself, right? It's like, I was talking with like a girl or like, oh, you know, maybe we're gonna move in together, maybe start a family and all this. And I said like, you know, listen, I don't wanna move out in some random ass fucking place in the middle of nowhere. Because like, I know how good it was for me as a kid growing up, like to be around a bunch of other people. And like to grow up with like my neighborhood and like all my friends, and it's like I would want that to fucking happen for a kid of mine. Absolutely. Like I would never, like it doesn't matter how nice the house is. Who gives a fuck about the house? It's a fucking house. That's just a place where you put your shit.
Example of this is in Barcelona, Spain.
The American mind cannot comprehend what's going on around it. This isn't a party. It's not even a planned event. It's just what happens every afternoon here in Barcelona, Spain. After school and work, people come out to squares like this to hang out, get work done while their kids play with friends, socialize, interact with acquaintances or true friends and neighbors. And there's a huge social and economic benefit to it. Now the square I was at is right here behind me, but just a block away through that passageway is another
I think that there is like a legitimate economic benefit too, because people feel like they have a like a shared responsibility.
Now in America we have a loneliness epidemic, and part of it is due to our built environment. You see, these public squares are examples.
I think there's also like, I don't know how Spain is, but like actually I'm not even really sure, right? Because I was gonna say like America is less homogenous than Spain, but Japan is more homogenous than anywhere else in the world. And like they have this problem. So like maybe homogeny, like looking the same, everybody being like the same race, the same like culture, etc. Maybe that's not as much of a factor, but like, I don't know, maybe it is. It's hard to say. It's culture? Yeah. Because like one thing about America is that Florida and Portland are really different countries. They're really very different places. Fuck. Austin and I would say just like a random place in Texas are different countries.
What some people call third places. They're not work, your first place. They're not home, your second place, but they're a third place where you interact with acquaintances and friends. In America, these third places are dwindling as religion and church.
Church is another one. Like I used to go to church growing up.
Is having less a significant impact in Americans' lives. But also third places are disappearing because of zoning laws, which keep separating the different types of activity that you have in a city to the point of every activity has to be intentionally planned. And what third places we do have in America, things like coffee shops or bars and cafes, they're paid third places that just aren't very accessible for people who are poor, at least on a regular basis. Now, why does it happen here in Spain? Well, of course, there's a culture for it, but more than that, there's an environment that's conducive to it.
But what about the individual person? Saying, go make a friend, or man up, isn't exactly helpful. Loneliness is not something to be ashamed of or ignored. You wouldn't be ashamed to get help for a broken arm. So if your soul is injured, you should reach out. Here are 6 ways that one can combat loneliness. Number 1, reach out. This could include professional...
Well, we know this one's not going to fucking happen because most of the people that are lonely are anxious about being social. Like, this is probably the one that's going to be the least likely to happen. I'm going to be honest. That one's like, it's like, oh, fuck, that's the one thing I don't want to do. They're not going to reach out, they're going to roach out.
Help, or expressing how you feel to your friends or family. You can just start small. You could also find local groups, organizations, and services that can help you connect with others. Reach out to a mental health professional, like a therapist or counselor. They can provide you with guidance and support to address the underlying causes of loneliness. Number 2, self-acceptance.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of money, right, to go to like a therapist. I don't know how much it is to go to a therapist, but it's probably like, what, 50, 100 bucks an hour? Something like that, maybe 150 on average, right? Extremes exist, but
this seems counterintuitive, but another solution is to cultivate a connection with oneself.
Yeah,
it's a practice to remind us that we do indeed have self-worth. A 2022 study showed that self-reflection can reduce feelings of loneliness and also contribute to finding meaning in life. Reflecting on who you are, practicing self-compassion, and writing down how you're feeling can be a great start. Number 3.
See, I guess that's always kind of like what I did, right? It's like I would always make videos. Even whenever I was a little kid, I would make videos and draw comics. Like I would always find like different ways to like express myself. Like, dude, like I have like 50, like I'm not even kidding you guys, I have like probably like 50 hours of just like vlogs that I did growing up that I just never put on the internet. I would just record it and like, okay, there it is.
Gratitude. A lot of things around us tell us that we're not enough. It's how a lot of companies make their money.
That's true.
The advertising tells us we're not rich enough or pretty enough, or that if we just buy this
I see this a lot with people, like they like this is especially true like for me, because like I'm not a big you know, money spender. So like anytime that like this TV that I have behind me right here, this motherfucker, this is a 50-inch TV that I bought. It's an LED TV. It was a great TV. I bought it at Sam's Club. I went there with my mom and my friend Austin, and I bought that TV with my first check from the IRS. I have never replaced that TV, and it's not getting replaced until maybe somehow I move or it dies. It's a good TV. Could I buy an 85-inch TV? Sure. But why would I do that if I already have a TV? And it's people always feeling like they need something that, you know, I think it's like a matter of perspective. Is I try to look at myself as a, you know, fully completed puzzle. I try to think of myself like, okay, well, I'm missing 7 different pieces. One of them's a new car. The other one's a TV. Another one is the approval of a group of people on the internet. Like, this is not a good idea.
Or think we'll be happy. We can combat this by being grateful in what we do have. The practice of gratitude. I know it sounds trite, but the simple practice of gratitude can do wonders. A 2021 study showed that increased gratitude can reduce feelings of loneliness. The 2015 study, 2011 study, and 2010 study all showed the same thing. For just 5 minutes a day, really think about what you can be thankful for. At first, it may seem like there's nothing to be thankful for. But if you're not forced to fight in a war, have a roof over your head, and are in decent physical health, have food, and have water, that's better than some people. We should be thankful for that and much more. There's nothing wrong with acknowledging that where you are right now is hard, really, really hard. But incorporating the practice of gratitude alongside other support can strongly aid in your journey.
Yeah.
For example, studies prove that gratitude can increase.
Like I was talking to my dad about this, and I was like, I get so exhausted and tired of being the person that people come to solve their problems. Like I have all my shit in order. Everything is going great for me. I don't have any problems. And there are other people that bring their problems to me that have a problem, and now it's like, you know, their life is on the line in some way. It's like a crucial issue and they need me to help them. Right? It's like, oh fuck, right? I've got to figure out what to do now. And so I told him, I was like, listen, the only thing worse than that is being the person that has to ask for help. You know, I try not to forget that. It's like, yeah, it might be annoying for sure, but like, goddamn, am I lucky to be the person that's able to help them? Yeah, if it was the other way around. That doesn't make it any less fucking annoying, by the way. It's just important to keep things into perspective.
Studies reduce depression and strengthen resiliency.
Trauma dumping
often experience reduced blood pressure, less trauma, increased energy, even longer lives. People who purposefully express more gratitude report higher self-esteem than those who don't, and more likely to help others.
also, like, you know, you look at gratitude, you know, saying grace, right, at, you know, whenever you're about to eat dinner. It's like, that's, again, like, another way that, like, kind of religion is, like, you know, like, tangentially related with this.
Social behavior also,
and I do think, like, the decline of religion is, like, a huge factor of why people are feeling more lonely. I think that it's fucking huge. Because, like, almost every single place in the world has a religion. And I think the reason why every place in the world has a religion is because there is some sort of, like, fucking... Like, you know how, like, there's certain things that, like, you know, for example, like, a baby will, like, curl their toes? So, like, in every single human being does this thing. Like, I think that's kind of the same thing with religion. Yeah, core memory, like, core, like, shared consciousness.
People capture grateful thoughts before bed, sleep better than those who don't.
Jesus is a boomer now.
Why so many positive changes? Because gratitude actually optimizes our brains, kickstarting production of dopamine and serotonin. Like antidepressants, these feel-good neurotransmitters activate the bliss center of the brain, creating feelings of happiness and contentment. This appears to be self-perpetuating. Research suggests that with regular practice, you'll train your prefrontal cortex to better appreciate and retain positive experiences and thoughts, and to deflect the negative ones.
Number 4, social media reduction.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. Yeah, I mean, and it makes sense, right? If you're already happy and things are going good for you, it's like the matter of, like, you know, as I was saying, right? People always coming to you to, like, you know, ask you for help and stuff. It's like, it's a matter of perspective. I think almost everything, if you change your perspective on it, it can at least be improved. It's not going to be better, but they're not going to fix it, but it'll be improved.
When it comes to using social media, we need to use it in moderation. There's research that says that a small amount of social media is beneficial, but a large amount is detrimental. 30 minutes of use a day is the advice from Dr. Jeremy Noble. He cited a University of Pennsylvania study. Cutting back on social media can significantly improve your well-being. Dr. Noble also advises to choose social media platforms that help us develop authentic social connections. Number 5.
I think social media is, like, one of the things where it's like you have some people that get in on it, and, like, for me, I like being able to go on Facebook and see what friends of mine that I grew up with are doing now. Because, like, they live maybe in a different state, or, you know, their lives are totally different. I don't get a chance to see them anymore. And so it's like I see them with, like, you know, they have a family now, and, you know, they have a picture together, and it's like, oh, yeah, I remember this dude. We used to throw rocks at people in high school, and, like, you know, now he's got, like, 2 kids and a wife, and he's trying to pretend like he's not the shithead that, you know, we used to be. And, you know, like, I get a lot out of that. I think that's a great thing. But there's a lot of other people that, you know, whenever they get on social media, they only get mad. Like, I'll read people's, like, so, like, obviously I get a lot of people, like, adding me, like, oh, I fucking hate you, like, kill yourself, like, I hate your content, like, you're so stupid. Right? People tell me this, like, every day. And so sometimes I'll, like, read their profile just because I'm curious, right? And so I'll read their profile, and, like, I'll look at the tweets, and, like, every single tweet and every message that they ever do is something negative. Like, this is just, like, a fundamentally unhappy, negative person. And it's just so sad. It's so sad that they're doing that. Like, they're literally ruining their own life. You're fishing for one of those people? Oh, who cares, right? I mean, there's plenty of hate watchers in chat. Maybe not right now, but, like, just in general.
Giving to others shows us that we have something to offer to the world. Ironically, this can help us feel less lonely. Local community volunteering, or just helping a work colleague or neighbor in small ways. According to Vivek Murphy, the man who first declared the loneliness pandemic back in 2017, quote, service is one of the most under-recognized antidotes to loneliness. It reaffirms to ourselves that we have value to add to the world.
I think
and lastly, number 6, connection.
Yeah, like, growing up, my dad would have me go and, like, we would volunteer and do, like, work to preserve, like, different natural, like, habitats. One in particular, here, like, in Austin. And so we do that, like, you know,